Why humanity is the galaxy's most terrifying warrior species. Archivist's note: Galactic Cycle 99183.3. This document was recovered from the ruins of the Threxan archive following the Terran campaign. Translated into standard for educational purposes. Handle with caution. Contains first-hand accounts of pre-contact evaluations of species Terra 1A, also known as humans. Entry 1. Initial assessment. Designation: Species 1A 19 Human. Homeworld: Terra Sol 3. Threat level: Minimal Initial. From the records of Strategist Velthor of the Threxan High Council, they are carbon-based bipeds, barely Type 0 on the Kardashev scale. Their technology is primitive: nuclear propulsion, rudimentary cybernetics, and unreliable quantum communication. They haven't even unified their planet. They remain divided by language, belief, and artificial borders. These are not warriors. They are fractured, emotional, and irrational. A subjugation campaign would take less than 3 cycles. At best, they are pests. At worst, minor rebels. This was our first and greatest miscalculation. Entry 2. First contact. The Gravari incident. The Gravari scout vessel made contact on what the humans called Earth Year 2091. The intent was peaceful observation, a standard pre-conquest psychological evaluation. Only 3 of the 5 crew survived. Not because the humans had better weapons. Not because of any ambush. But because the humans attacked immediately, not out of defense, but curiosity. Their soldiers didn't flee or surrender, even when outnumbered. One of them, an unarmed male in what we now understand was a marine training exercise, leapt onto a Gravari warrior's back and tried to break its neck with his bare hands. The Gravari had encountered aggressive species before, but none that smiled while bleeding. Entry 3. Study of human history. Following the Gravari loss, the Threxan Council ordered a deeper study into human history. We thought their behavior was an anomaly. It was not. Human history is a chronicle of self-inflicted apocalypse. They burned, bombed, and butchered each other with fanatical creativity. They invented weapons of mass destruction before they could reliably travel their own planet. Their wars were not always for resources or survival. Sometimes they were for ideas, for honor, for revenge. They celebrated these wars, built monuments to them, told stories to their offspring about the glory of slaughter. One entry in particular caused alarm among our analysts, a conflict called World War II, where entire cities were incinerated and one nation fought enemies on 2 hemispheres simultaneously and won. This nation was later identified as one of humanity's superpowers. What species fights a war on 2 fronts and wins? Entry 4. Biology of a monster. We then turned to human biology for answers. Perhaps there was something in their physiology that made them act this way. What we found was worse. Humans are not the strongest species, nor the fastest, but they possess something terrifying: endurance. They are persistence predators. Ancient humans hunted prey by chasing it to exhaustion over days. They can function with broken bones, continue fighting after losing limbs. Their threshold for pain is absurd. In some cases, pain only seems to encourage them. Even their emotions are weapons. Rage boosts strength. Fear sharpens senses. Grief turns into determination. No other species in the galaxy weaponizes suffering as humans do. And then we discovered adrenaline. Entry 5. The Battle of Carthan 8. The Threxan Empire, in its arrogance, launched a containment strike on Terra's outer colonies, expecting surrender. Instead, they were met with what the humans called guerrilla warfare. They adapted faster than any species we've encountered. used our own weapons against us within weeks, captured Threxan ships, and learned to pilot them with no assistance. And then they started winning. A single Terran unit, Blackout Company, ambushed and eliminated an entire Threxan warhost using only stolen gear, improvised explosives, and what they later described as a hell of a lot of duct tape. We underestimated their creativity, their madness, their refusal to die quietly. Entry 6. The Fall of the High Council. The final blow came not from fleets or orbital strikes, but from information. Humans didn't just fight with weapons. They fought with stories. They hacked into Threxan broadcast systems and flooded them with propaganda. Songs, movies, images. It drove our civilians into panic. Warriors questioned the cause. One particular message, repeated endlessly, still haunts the surviving council members. We're coming, not to negotiate, not to forgive. We warned you once. You didn't listen. Now you'll see what monsters you made of us. They did not bluff. Earth's armies didn't come in ships with flags. They came in stolen vessels, wearing scavenged armor, using hybridized weapons. A swarm of vengeance and ingenuity, fueled by rage and unity we didn't believe was possible for such a fractured species. In a single standard cycle, the Threxan Empire was no more. Entry 7. Why they terrify us. There are species stronger than humans, smarter, more technologically advanced, but none are more dangerous. Because no other species in the galaxy fights like humans do, not just with weapons, but with stories, emotions, and raw, unfiltered will. They can lose everything and still crawl forward, bleeding and laughing. They don't fear death the way we do. In fact, many of them invite it if it means protecting their own. And worst of all, they're just getting started. Entry 8. A Human Speaks. A recording from General Sarah Kincaid, played across the captured Threxan system during the final surrender. You called us monsters, savages, beasts. You were half right. We are monsters when you threaten our own. We are the species that taught itself to fly by strapping explosives to wings. We are the ones who looked at the void of space and said, let's live there. You thought war would break us. You didn't know that war built us. You came to our world thinking we'd kneel. Instead, we rose. And now we're coming for the stars. Entry 9. Postscript Recommendations. This document is to be preserved and studied in all military academies under the Unified Galactic Treaty. If humans are encountered again, do not provoke. Do not attack. Do not invade. If peaceful, they can be loyal allies. But if threatened, they become the universe's most adaptive, tenacious, and unrelenting foe. They are the only species known to weaponize hope. And that, above all, is why they terrify us. Author's note: let this stand as a warning to all who believe in conquest over coexistence. The humans are not monsters by nature, but they become monsters when they must protect what they love. And there is nothing more dangerous in the galaxy than a human with something to fight for.